Alex, Peak Performance Reviews, and welcome to another vlog and welcome to another video on our facelifted FK8 Civic Type R. Now you would have seen from the title that obviously, yes, no car from Alex is going to stay standard for very long at all. So yes, modifications are finally happening. We've been in ownership of this car for about a month. I just wanted to make sure the car was running, and it has been now. So it's done 2,000 miles, you'd have seen it, and if you haven't, check out my drive video from our time in Wales. I'll ping that up in the top right hand corner for you now. You can go and check that out. And that's me driving the car a little bit more in anger. Now it's a little bit more running. But because it's now a little bit more running, I basically bought some modifications for the car. But in fact, I actually bought these modifications even before I took delivery of the car. That's how bad I am. I'm itchy to kind of modify a car. Now this car is close to perfection, and it has a chassis that can take a lot more power. So, and from what I see of other manufacturers and tuners, they can get a lot out of this car as well. And we're going to start modifying this car. And the reason why is, although it's close to perfection, it probably is what I would say the best hot hatch out there. I've said it time and time again, and that's why I bought one. Don't get me wrong, like I say, it's always subjective, and there's so many good hot hatches out there. However, I chose this, I think, as a driver's platform. It's an absolute monster. That being said, it is devastatingly quick, and it stops seriously well with the great brakes it has as well. It still can always do with making even into more of an animal, I suppose, and into more of a beast. Like I said before, and you'll probably see from my videos, I've always said this car has a chassis more akin to a supercar. It corners so flat and it's so amazing that I think it would be amazing just to make it closer to something like a supercar in terms of power. Now that's quite hard with these kind of platforms. That being said, you can get these cars up to and close to around 500 horsepower on the stock turbo. I kid you not. There are cars in the States that are closing in on 500 horsepower on the stock turbocharger, and 450, 460, 470, 480 is relatively easy to make with good modifications with methanol injection, which is probably the route we're going to start to take with this. We're not going to go too leery on handling mods and big exhaust mods, because I quite like this being relatively refined, and this time around I'm not going to go for garish and too loud. So we're going to do it in a tasteful, nice kind of way, just based on kind of previous experiences and what kind of we want from the car. So first things first, and new modifications that are coming on this car. Okay, so two modifications. We are going really simple to start off with. The most important simple modifications are always the best, and I think you've got to start somewhere first and think of the ways that need improving first, just slowly but surely, almost eking out a small amount of horsepower and then going to the bigger stuff. So first and foremost, performance air filter, K&N, nice and simple. Links in the bio to the best price where you can get this. Like I say, links in the bio, check it out. Mega price on this, and it's such a little amount of money that it's worth. Anyone with an FK8, even pre-facelift, they're all the same. They're all the same size, so this panel filter will do the job that you need. There's loads of different intakes, and again, this is subjective. It depends on how much you want to spend. But by and large, the combination of modifications that I'm going to show you are pretty much as good as it gets in terms of intake. Intakes on the FK8, and when I say that, I mean in terms of the way it delivers performance throughout the power band, and brake horsepower and torque. Obviously, these are the most important things. So loads of different nice, amazing intakes out there that vary from 300 to 600 quid, and most are kind of £500–600 for this FK8. They need a good cold air feed to them to make good power. All of them seem to make very similar power. Some make less at the £500–600 range. But this combination of modifications, which costs around £160, gives you the same performance, if anything a little bit better than every single intake out there, for £500–600. The only intake that we know of that is better than this combination, and it is actually by a country mile, is the Edmunds carbon fibre intake. Civic system, which maybe down the route and down the line we would love to get that. We'll speak to the guys at Venturi and see maybe whether we can get one on that later date. Try it, maybe check it out and do a kind of head-to-head on a dyno and show exactly why it makes performance gains, and it definitely does. Basically, the combination of parts that I'm going to show you now, like I say, the K&N, I'm not going to babble on too much. This K&N panel air filter, like I say, is £50, circa £50. Links in the bio to the best price, like I said. This intake will give you about what's been proven to be about 9 to 12 horsepower more, and about 9 or 10 foot-pounds of torque. So that is, I say, it's probably going to be minusculely noticeable, and at the end of the day, it's going to take your power from around 320 to 330 horsepower range. So that's that. Lovely. We're going to get that on really, really soon. And I'm going to do some draggy tests. I'm actually going to do, in this video, I'm going to do a draggy test for 0 to 60 on the stock car. I have already done 0 to 60 tests on the standard car, and I'll tell you now, they were typically in real world conditions, real world situations, it was typically between 5.9 and 6.1. Now, there's a lot of geometry changes and bushing changes in this car, as well as suspension changes, unsprung mass on the frontal area, on the frontal wheels, from the brake kit, and the unsprung mass reduction in the floating discs on this car. So there is a good chance that this could be quantifiably and on paper a little bit quicker than the outgoing model. If it's going to be minute, but although saying that, it might actually be more than we even think, because of the geometry changes and a few things. What I've noticed on this facelifted edition is low down, 0 to 60 for example, it doesn't seem to axle tramp as much as the standard one, the outgoing older model. And I think there was only about 3 things wrong with that car. It was the braking feel, which they've sorted out on this new one, and the modes, the differences of the modes, and the almost it's more apparent to use the modes, in my opinion. They feel more like they should in the stages on this car, and that's pretty much it. There's a few additional interior changes, but other than that, this facelifted one has had everything you can think of changed that needed that little bit of a tweak. And I'd probably invite you to kind of say, I'll ping it up in the right top right, for you to watch some of the older videos. But this, with the geometry changes, definitely doesn't axle tramp as much and has a lot of better low down grip than it ever had before, which that was the only thing it used to scramble out of corners at very low speeds, or launching for example. And that was one thing that a lot of front wheel drive cars will struggle with, even with a mechanical proper limited slip differential like this has, and like the old one had. But the changes have made it better low down, so there may be a chance that in real world conditions it's easier to get a really good 0 to 60 time in this car. I'm going to try and do a dragging test for you today. The roads are a little bit damp, so it may not be a good fair test, but we'll give it a go anyway, so we'll see. If we get some results and they're better than before, even in these conditions, my kind of the proof is there in the pudding, I suppose. So yeah, it would have been a worthwhile test. So yeah, watch on that. So right, yeah, on from the panel air filter. The additional other thing that I have brought is this PRL intake from Tigua, and yeah, Tigua are absolutely amazing. To be honest with you, most of the time, apart from that intake, nearly anything I've ever got in for any of my Hondas have always come from Tigua. So I'll give you a link in the bio to Tigua and to a link to the PRL intake pipe as well. This is an awesome piece. Basically, it replaces a little jagged, horrible piece, standard piece from Honda that is really restricted. So obviously it's a smooth bore internally, and it's all kind of one. Well, it kind of tapers in size slightly from this side to that side, but it's all smooth, and it's a really smooth transition. In the stock one, it's got kind of almost like a dimpled concertina effect, which it really kind of agitates airflow, and it really does show in a dyno graph, and I've seen from these and the car in its stock form. So this replaces that, So this kind of coupled with the K&N gives it another 1 or 2 extra horsepower, but what this does is it gives the graph a much more pretty, usable graph, if that makes sense. So the brake horsepower and torque, rather than it kind of almost jaggering, it's more smoother. So this can help increase the power further, but mainly make the power more usable and more constant. The torque and the power more constant, if that makes sense. And for that reason, these are kind of a match made in heaven, and you really should do both as well. So that being said, I'm going to do both. I'm going to do them singularly at different times. I'm going to do one video for you on the K&N, and then I'm going to do another video for you with them on together, and see if I can get some draggy videos to see if there's some quantifiable truth in what I'm talking about. So yeah, it'd be good test as well. And I still haven't eaten my Haribo from Luke and the guys at Tigwa, which you get free as well. But it comes with all the coupling kits and new clips, which is really good. Yeah, can't wait to get started on the modifications. All in, ready. Videos coming very soon. They're going to come. One will come next week, and there'll be another video the following week as well. So we'll get these on, do the draggy tests. I'm about to go and do my draggy test in this car, stock car, and let's see how we get on with that. And yeah, watch and enjoy. Let's do our first 0 to 60 and see if we can get this pinned. I've had a couple of goes already, but the roads in most places are just so damp, so I'm not expecting much, to be honest with you guys. So that felt alright actually. Let's have a look. That was 6.3, which is not bad actually, considering it's damp out there, and I was really short shifting early, so it's just so cold and damp. It's 9 degrees out, I think. I'll give it some more goes anyway for you, but I think we're going to struggle to get in the 5s today. I really want to get, I actually on draggy I haven't ever got on in the 5s, and I had or borrowed a FK8 a long time ago, and I had it in the summer months and I still couldn't get it in the 5s, but I didn't really have that many goes, so there is a knack to it, and I think it would take some doing, but I think it wouldn't be too hard. But this one definitely puts down the power better, but it's damper and colder, so yeah, it's going to be a stretch to get it in the 5s today. But yeah, watch on and we'll see what we can do for you. Let's go again. Whee, 5.8. Yes. Well, I tell you what, we can do. I think we can do way better than that, and that's good going. That was easy. That was 5.8, really easy. Again, that was loads of spin, you would have heard, but that was traction control on. Oh, I could have gone then, didn't realise. Oops. Anyway, that was factory traction control on, and yeah, short shifting a little bit. Yeah, that is really good. I honestly think this new facelifted one is quicker. It just feels quicker. I mean, there's loads of things on this car that should mean it should be a little bit quicker. Honestly, things like the unsprung weight on the driven wheels, on the 2 driven wheels. Also the geometry changes and things like that. They should definitely make a quantifiable difference, because they're going to help traction. So yeah, to me it's a lot easier to get the power down, and it's still fairly hard because it's front wheel drive, and this car has got a lot of power in a straight line. I think if you watch the car wow videos, this is, if you look at all of the videos this has ever done, it's probably one of the quickest hot hatches out there. I think the only one, the Mini GP, the newest version, is a little bit quicker. That's quite a freight train. That's in the straight line. This would murder it in the handling stakes. Yeah, I think everything else it's pretty much better than. So yeah, really, really good. So yeah, let's have another go in a mo. Really bad. There's so much spin on that. We'll give it another go. I think we'll leave traction control on and hope for the best. Right, I'm going to give it 2 more goes. And then call it a day, guys. Yeah, really happy with that. Mid kind of 5-second kind of range for a front wheel drive car is bloody brilliant. So yeah, I honestly think that Honda have nailed it with this facelifted one, and they've just chipped away at the things that weren't so good with the older outgoing model, which was absolutely close to perfection as well anyway. But yeah, the geometry changes and the unsprung mass from the floating caliper, the floating discs, is making some difference. Like I say, the I think suspension as well has been revised, the bushing, that will all change things to the chassis platform, which was already really, really good, to kind of help it do lots of things better. And one of the things that most front wheel drive cars struggle with, certainly when they get a lot of power, is standing start and low down pulls. This one seems to have nailed it, because it's 9 degrees outside and it is damp on the roads, and I am doing 5.7 0-60. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm proper chuffed. You can probably see me grinning. I'm absolutely buzzing about that. I'm really, really pleased. It's got more in it, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, but that is really, really good going. I'm really pleased with that in 9-degree temps. Like I say, with traction control, factory traction control still on. Yeah, it's a factory standard car, and it's still kind of being worn in, really. Like I say, it's 1,832 miles actually, so it's still bedding in. There's still going to be improvements to be had, I think, with this car, definitely. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. I'm loving it. Another 5.8. I'm going to leave it at that. We've done a 5.7. I think there's definitely more in it. I think 5.5s, 5.4s, 5.3s out of the factory, I think is it wouldn't be easy, but I think with the power this has, I think it's only a case of being able to get the power down from mechanical grip that is the differential from this probably being able to do a super low 5. I wouldn't be surprised if with traction, if you could turn traction control off and you had the mechanical grip low down in this car, I think you could probably get this down to a 4.9 0-60 out of the factory, because 5.7s with slip and spin in cold conditions, it was quite easy actually, to be honest with you. I ended up nailing a 5.9, a 5.8, a 5.7, a 5.8 again, 4 times in a row. So if you kind of know the feel of the car and you get used to driving the car and how much power it can kind of have at the different temperatures and stuff like that, you will be able to quantify exactly how to kind of translate that to your to the ground, I suppose, or you'll learn how to launch the car better, should I say. A better way of putting it. But yeah, so happy with that. 5.7, we're going to get the mods on. We'll try and get a good freakish day where it'll be really, really nice and sound and warm. and we'll test again. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Exciting times, mods are coming. Yeah, as always, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.